Hello friends, welcome to my channel Global Civil Engineers. Before proceeding to my today's lecture, let me remind you to subscribe this channel and press the bell icon to get notified about new videos. So in this video lecture, I have covered many topics about plastering. Let's calculate the quantity of mortar and materials in 12 mm thick plastering. Okay, we have a wall whose length is 10 meter and height is 10 meter and it is plastering thickness is 12 mm. So we know quantity of wet mortar, that is area of this wall length multiplied with the height into thickness of plastering. So that is area of wall here is 10 into 10 multiplied with thickness of plaster, that is 12 mm. In meters it comes 0.012 meter. So when we multiply these, we get our quantity of wet mortar to be 1.20 cubic meter. Now we also know that there may be joints unevenness in the surface of wall, so adding 30% of mortar for filling up the joints and unevenness, etc., we get our total quantity of wet mortar equal to this quantity of wet mortar, that is 1.20 cubic meter, plus 30% of this quantity. So when we calculate these, we get our total quantity of wet mortar equal to 1.56 cubic meter. Now to convert this wet mortar quantity into dry volume, we need to increase this volume by 25%. So quantity of dry mortar is equal to this quantity 1.56 cubic meter plus it is 25%, that is 0.25 into 1.6, and after calculation it comes 1.95 cubic meter. Now we need to calculate materials, that is cement and sand, for this mortar having ratio 1:6, that is proportion of cement is 1 and the proportion of sand is 6 by volume. So sum of numerals of this proportion is 1 plus 6, that is 7. Now using formula, quantity of cement is equal to a volume of dry mortar multiplied with proportion of cement divided by sum of numerals of proportion. Here volume of dry mortar is equal to 1.95 cubic meter as calculated here, multiplied with proportion of cement, that is this one, it is 1, divided by sum of numerals of proportion is 7. So after calculation we get quantity of cement equal to 0.28 cubic meter. If we have to convert this quantity into kg, we need to multiply this quantity with 1440, that is equal to 403.2 kg, where this quantity 1440 kg per meter cube is the unit weight of cement. So if we have to convert this into bags, we will divide this by 50. Why? Because the weight of one bag of cement is 50 kg and it gives our quantity of cement equal to 8.06 bags, that is approximately 8 bags of cement will be required. Now quantity of sand using same formula, volume of dry mortar, here volume of dry mortar into proportion of sand divided by sum of numerals of proportion, that is volume of dry mortar is equal to 1.95 as calculated here, multiplied with proportion of sand, you can see it is 6, proportion of sand is 6, divided by sum of numerals, that is 7, and after calculation it comes to be 1.67 cubic meter. Now for 20 mm thick plastering, in this case 20% of mortar may be taken to fill up the joints and uneven surfaces. Why here 20% while in previous case we took it 30%? Because in this case you can see the thickness of this wall is 20 mm. That is, its volume will come more than that of previous case of 12 mm thick plastering. So that's why we take here only 20% of mortar to fill up the joints. Therefore, quantity of wet mortar, that is area of wall here you can see it 10 into 10, length multiplied with height multiplied with thickness of plastering. Thickness of plastering here is 20 mm, that is 0.020 meter, plus adding this 20% in this case, we get our quantity of wet mortar to be 2.40 cubic meter. Now dry volume is calculated by increasing this quantity by 25%. So you see here it is 2.40 cubic meter quantity of wet mortar plus 25%, that is 0.25 multiplied with the same quantity, and we get our dry volume of 20 mm thick plastering wall equal to 3 cubic meter. Now also ceiling plastering 12 mm thick. For plastering in RCC ceiling, the unevenness of surface will be less. Why so? Because we know in case of RCC we have less unevenness in the surface. That's why we have taken it now 20%. So 20% may be taken extra to get even surfaces. Therefore, quantity of wet mortar, that is same length multiplied with height multiplied with thickness of this plastering, that is 12 mm, that comes to be 0.012 meter, plus 20%, this 20% of this quantity. So after calculation we get our quantity of wet mortar equal to 1.44 cubic meter. Now if we have to convert it into dry mortar, we need to increase this quantity by 25%. Therefore quantity of dry mortar is equal to this quantity plus its 25%, and after calculation it comes 1.80 cubic meter. Also neat cement finishing. For neat cement finishing in floor, dado or skirting, the thickness of neat cement layer may be taken as 1.5 mm. As usual we take thickness as 1.5 mm, that is 1/6 part of inch. So quantity of cement paste would be, this is the area of wall, that is length multiplied with height multiplied with this thickness, that is 1.5 mm. To convert this 1.5 mm into meters, we will divide this by 1000. So we get our quantity to be 0.15 cubic meter. Now in the same way, if we have to find dry volume, we will increase this quantity by 25%. That gives us our dry volume of cement to be equal to 0.19 cubic meter. If we have to convert this quantity into kgs, we will multiply it with 1440 kg per meter cube, that is density of cement. If you need to convert this into bags, you will divide it, weight of one bag is equal to 6 bags approximately. Remember that for rich mortar plastering there will be reduction in dry volume, because for rich mortar plastering the quantity of materials will be less, as the cement will be in excess than the void is in sand, and there will be reduction in volume of dry mortar. So dear viewers, this was all about plastering. I hope you enjoyed video. So subscribe the channel for latest